What is going on? Welcome to episode 125 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, and 64 Josh, player 2, Hate Zero. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Josh? And what is up, NPC fam? It is your boy, Hate Zero, your hero.
Player 3, Dan, what's going on, dude?
Not much. I don't have as cool of an intro, but since this is only a 3-player game and the only one I can think of is Secret of Mana, that's kind of like how I feel right now. It's just that entire game.
Excellent. Right. I like it. The music you just heard was from On Being Human. You can check them out on Spotify and YouTube. Remember, this is an unofficial Nintendo podcast. And if you'd like to get yourself a free book from Audible, you can go to audibletrial.com/NPC. There you can choose from excellent books like Blood, Sweat, and Pixels or Ready Player One. Again, that's audibletrial.com/NPC. The chair I'm sitting in is from OP Seat. If you go to n64josh.com/OP Seat, you automatically save $10 at checkout. And I love these chairs. And I was just interviewed by their CEO for the OP Seat podcast. And so that's going to be releasing either this week or next via YouTube, iTunes, all that stuff. So I will be posting that once it goes live. But to get the chair and save the $10, n64josh.com/OPSeat. Lastly, if you're wanting to start your own gaming podcast, I put together a guide called The Gamer's Guide to Podcasting. And it's basically just a launch plan to get you off the ground, to help you promote, help you grow, help you get your stuff out there. And you can go to n64josh.com/podcastbook to pick up the either the ebook or the audio version. That's n64josh.com/podcastbook.
Hey, listen!
We do this show live, twitch.tv/n64josh, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I'm not sure about this Thursday. The show's going to come out in the audio form no matter what, and I'll still do the show live. I don't know the exact time because I found local Smash Bros. Tournaments that happen every other Thursday, so I want to go check it out. The problem is it's about 45 minutes from where I live, so the show's either going to be early or late. I'm still waiting on the time for when these tournaments start, so there you go. But Tuesdays, still 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there we go. I would say Twitter and Discord are going to be your best ways to know. Once I know more, everybody will know more. I have a new streaming schedule, Monday through Friday, starting at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, going for about an hour and a half. Just playing a little bit of Fortnite. We're playing through the Messenger right now as well. Yep. So good times. And then Fridays, we got our first look starting at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that is just checking out indie titles and new games that are going to be making their way onto the Switch. Fingers crossed, if everything goes as planned, we're going to look at Blade Strangers this week because I really want to check that game out. I want to see Shovel Knight in a fighting game. You know, so
it's weird. It's weird. I played some of it a couple days ago, and it's weird.
Yeah, so
in a good way.
Weird in a good way. Well, that's good. That's it for the announcements. Let's get to the reviews and impressions. Eric.
Yo.
Any reviews or impressions for us this week?
Yeah, so I picked up Hollow Knight on the sale. Geez, this was a couple weeks back now, wasn't it? Been playing that. So I'm gonna surprise people, and I think the game is good, but it's not phenomenal for me so far. It's definitely good, fun, playable, but I have no attachment to the story so far whatsoever. Like, I'm just playing it just to play it. The controls are tight. I have no complaints there. The music's good. The graphics are great. But there is no story that I care about. Not to say it doesn't have a story. It doesn't hook me for whatever reason. So that was surprising. But overall, it's a good game. Still worth playing. I just, my gauge for platformers is Celeste, and it just doesn't hit the mark for me. Second, or more importantly, I wanted to talk about. I bought the Skull Kid grip case, is what they call it. The Skull and Co. Is it Skull and Co. Skull Kid Skull something or another grip case.
Like I was thinking
Um,
Majora's Mask.
Yeah, so was I. I
I was
was
like,
like, I did
what?
not know about this. Continue.
No, the Skull and Co. grip case. At first, hated it. It came with the I think they call them trigger. It comes with two different grips. The trigger grips were a little too aggressive for me. I put the more standard controller grip on there, and it's pretty comfortable. I do have a complaint with the bumpers. They're a little harder to press, and that's frustrating.
Mm.
But overall, it's not a bad product. I might be in the minority, though. I don't have issues where I get crazy hand fatigue playing the Switch. So I probably wasn't the target because I watched their I watched their infomercial, which is like the typical white people can't do anything infomercial, where the guy's like playing the controller and he has to like shake out his hands because apparently playing the Switch hurts your hands so much you violently shake. And like that has never been me. So if that's you and you just are like, oh my goodness, there must be a better way.
Oh, no.
Maybe the Skull and Co is for you.
I'm picturing that guy walking out to wash his car, and he's got like 4 buckets, all the soap, and he just magically trips and falls. Like washing your car is so difficult. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, or like I can't open a milk carton without exploding it everywhere.
Right.
You know? So if you're in that position where it's uncomfortable, I think it definitely does improve the ergonomics. You can hold on to it better. I don't feel like it's going to slip out of my hands. That's the biggest thing. Sometimes the Switch feels like it's going to slip out of your hands a little bit. This definitely takes that away. So
That's cool. That's cool. All right, Dan, how about you, man? What have you been playing? Anything?
Oh man, have I been playing stuff on my Nintendo Switch? It doesn't stop really, because just games from 2013 to 2018 keep coming out on it. But it's a good way to add to my backlog. I finally finished Night in the Woods though. Great game, excellent. Really do suggest checking it out. It was a little slow to start, but it eventually picked up a couple hours in. This isn't like a Final Fantasy 13 situation where it's like, oh, it opens up after 20 or 30 hours. It's like, just give it a little bit of a chance. It's a slow burn, mostly reading, but a ton of fun and very emotional story in terms of stuff that I'm playing, because I've actually been hanging out with people a whole lot more. In terms of stuff I've been playing with them, Puyo Puyo Tetris has been a hit nonstop. That game is still an awesome puzzle game, and it has the most generous demo ever, because you can just download basically a free version of that game, play it with 4 people, and basically the only thing you're missing out on is a subpar story mode and online multiplayer. So those are the two I've kind of been cycling through, thinking about starting Hollow Knight soon. And I'm still finally going through Bayonetta. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through that.
Cool.
So lots of good games, as always.
For sure. Well, this last Friday, I took the plunge and picked up The Messenger. It is currently my indie game of the year. Like, it is good. It is difficult. I had a few different people watching the stream. They're like, this is too hard for me. I won't be picking this one up. It is hilarious. The writing is so good. Like, ridiculous. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough. So, and I'm like, here's what my understanding of it is: you play through an 8-bit, and then it goes 16-bit, and then eventually turns into like a Metroidvania style. So, yeah, really, really liking it. Destinaut says, "Stop the press. I like a game."
Tell me about it. I thought the day would never come.
I also really love this next game. It's called Video Kid. It's $5 on the eShop. It is a Paperboy clone, and you're delivering pirated videotapes.
No
But
way.
There's
I've never heard of this.
There's 80s pop culture all through this thing, like Ghostbusters, Scooby-Doo, Care Bears, Alvin and the Chipmunks, California Raisins, A-Team, Thundercats, so much, like, so much. Out of control. You look like Marty McFly, and you unlock, like, at one point the Terminator just phases in right in front of you, and there's like Arnold Schwarzenegger all like knelt down right in the middle of the street, and you gotta ollie over him. Really, really fun. What I love about this game, $5, and it's one of those just pick up, play for $5. Like it's the epitome of one of those, like, I've got 5 minutes to kill. Let me do a couple runs of this, you know. So, and then if you end up having a really good run, you can just let it sleep and pick it back up where you left off. So, but you're earning money the whole time. You're unlocking stuff. Like it's definitely worth the $5 in my opinion.
Is it a roguelike? Because if you don't say roguelike, I don't know what to do with my life.
I mean, I guess if you want to get it, I guess technically it is, because. But,
all right, I'm sold. You had me at roguelike.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's not. It's more like Paperboy. Like the levels vary, but I don't know that they're all like procedurally generated. You may see different characters along the way, but for the most part, they were pretty similar.
I saw it on the eShop, I think yesterday I was looking, and it looked cool. The art style's kind of like Crossy Road, if you've ever played it on mobile. Kind of looks like that, like top down, not maybe like 3/4 down, was it?
It's kind of a 3/4 down, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks really cool. I'm glad you are saying decent things, because I might pick it up.
I honestly, playing it, I'm like, I literally thought, oh my gosh, Eric would love this game. Like,
there we go.
So, and if
there
you guys,
we go.
Of course, I have the first looks on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/N64Josh. You can check out the videos there. But we were kind of freaking out playing Video Kid, because it was like, what Care Bears, what Ninja Turtles, what goes, you know? And then we're like, hey, where's the is it Riggs and I can't remember, like from Lethal Weapon, are running down the street. Pee Wee Herman's riding his bike. Pamela Anderson jogging down the street. Hasselhoff.
Riggs and Murtaugh, bro. Come on, Murtaugh. Yeah, how are you gonna forget Murtaugh?
Murtaugh. There it is.
Getting too old for this stuff.
I guess. So it's really good. I highly recommend. So with that, let's get to the news. All right, some gaming news. And then we're going to spend a lot of time in talking points, but a couple different games we're going to talk about. First is The World Ends With You Remix will only support Joy-Con and touch controls. And it's single Joy-Con.
Yeah.
And touch controls. This is from Nintendo Life. Eric, I'm going to let you start with this because you're already shaking your head.
Yeah. This takes it from I was going to buy it to I won't touch it, even on sale.
Really?
Yep. I think that's stupid. And I'm not saying a game like that shouldn't. Yeah, I am. A game like that shouldn't exist on a hybrid console. I expect every game to be playable in all the configurations necessary, right? You know, I mean, that I don't like it. I don't want to touch my screen. I just don't. And single Joy-Con is one of the worst gaming experiences. Like, it's good in a pinch to like, hey buddy, come check out this sweet Nintendo, play Mario Kart really quick. But outside of that, it's not fun. So yeah, it's a no for me.
Okay.
Really?
That's so this is
Ouch.
This is one of our talking points after this whole single Joy-Con debate. So keep that in mind. Dan, what do you think?
I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me. The World Ends With You is an excellent game. I think the single Joy-Con thing is a little weird. So, if I remember correctly, you can still play it with dual Joy-Cons, right? Is that a thing at all, or is it just single Joy-Con when it's?
From the way the article read, it was a single Joy-Con.
Really?
And it allowed for aiming on the screen. If you remember correctly, the way this game played on the DS was a D-pad and a stylus.
Cool. Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm gonna pull the trigger on this. You guys will get the first look. You'll get my impressions, but
Yeah.
interesting choice.
I think it is an interesting choice because it's a sort of thing where it should be 100% compatible. If it's compatible docked at all with the Pro Controller, because there are games on the Switch that totally are handheld only. Voez, for instance. And Voez is a great game, and I can't see it ever working while docked. And I can see how disappointing The World Ends With You is, where they can't figure that out, where it seems somewhat easy. And of course, me, armchair developer, I don't even know how to make games. In my mind, it's just copy paste, and now it's on Switch. But I think it's a little ridiculous. I feel like the negative fervor around it definitely is maybe going to change something. But if they're confident with it, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day, since I do play my Switch for the most part in handheld mode, and that's 100% how I'm going to play it. So I'm still going to buy it anyway.
If I could do handheld with both controllers, I would probably, because I have been playing a ton more handheld, so that wouldn't bother me. But to either have to use one Joy-Con as a magic wand or touchscreen, like I don't want to play that game. I didn't want to play it on the Wii. I don't want to play it today. It's just not for me. I'm a gamer. I like to move my thumbs. If I wanted to move my whole body, I'd go outside.
Gotcha.
So here's
go ahead.
Here's what the Nintendo Life article says. It says, during a Nintendo demo event at PAX West 2018, US Gamer was informed The World Ends With You Final Remix would not support the Pro Controller. As previously announced, the game will utilize solo Joy-Con play with motion reticle aiming and touchscreen controls in handheld mode. The single Joy-Con play style means a second player can easily join in on the fun in co-op.
So it's just going to be gyro then. It's not going to be using... If it's two-player, then does that mean two people need to have right Joy-Cons? Because I was figuring that the whole reason why it would be single Joy-Con is because they wanted you to be using the right one, which had an IR sensor on it, rather than just the baked-in This is bad. I don't know about this anymore. This is bad and confusing. I think I might actually pull my pre-order.
So, I would wait until you get a little more info, but yeah, I don't like that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna say
where are you, Josh?
I was surprised. The thing is, I'm still confused on how this game's gonna play at all, right? Because the way it played before was with the. So I need to try to find some of these. Maybe they have some of the demonstration on YouTube or something. Like I want to know. I want to know a little bit more about it. I mean, if it's essentially a point-and-click adventure, that's going to seem a little bit weird. Mm-hmm. But if I remember correctly, there's kind of a rhythm element to the game in a way. It seemed like anyway, like not like Rhythm Heaven or something like that, or Guitar Hero, but just kind of like you were kind of trying to fight in a particular rhythm almost. So we'll see. What's strange is that solo Joy-Con play with motion reticle aiming and touchscreen controls in handheld mode. Like, makes it sound like you can't even play handheld without touching the screen.
It won't be. It's going to be like the iOS or Android port, like most likely then. Yeah.
That is very interesting decision.
The Switch is just awkward to hold with one hand and touchscreen. I played the Pokemon, whatever that was on there.
Yeah.
And it's just too bulky and weird to do that for me.
I have to play with the Joy-Cons off if I'm gonna have to play only with touch controls.
Yeah.
So there you go. That may be impacting some people's decision, as you guys can see just now.
I'm back and forth on it.
Speaking of solo Joy-Con games. Super Mario Party is getting Joy-Con bundles for Japan and Europe. They're coming. I mean, it makes total sense, right? Because if you want to be able to get the game and two Joy-Cons, you can immediately do 4 players at that point. So makes sense. Japan's looks a little cooler. It's like the neon red and the neon yellow, and they both have the matching color wrist straps. Which does anybody buy those things? Like,
No. No.
So I mean, $7 a pop for matching colors. Anyway,
I can buy lunch instead.
right there you go. Nothing announced for the U.S. that I was able to find as of yet. So Europe and Japan. I mean I find it hard to believe we wouldn't see.
Well,
That
I
bundle.
mean, we've gotten every single Joy-Con set correct? Like, and not even just retailer exclusive. I think. I'm trying to think if there's any of them because it's
The only ones
Those
we-
dark blue ones, they keep showing up everywhere that we don't have.
The red ones were only available through the Odyssey.
Yeah, but
bundle,
even then, didn't they sell them separately? I'm not
You
sure,
had to
though.
import them.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
you
makes
had-
sense.
You had to import
Okay.
them. So, anyway, I imagine we'll see something here. Lastly, a little bit of Fortnite news. Epic is working with Nintendo to improve Fortnite performance on the Switch. Here's from EpicGames.com. Switch players are reporting issues with models and environment not rendering properly, which is totally true. The game looks like Play-Doh. I've been doing my dailies every morning on stream, and it's rough. It's rough. As well as an increase in hitches that have apparently gotten worse with each update. Also true. We're investigating what the root cause for this is, and we'll provide updates once we have more information. And then shortly after getting the update, it said, we have found the issue with the loading performance degrading over subsequent patches. We're working with Nintendo on a fix for the root cause of this, targeting the 5.4 release. Internal test results look positive, and we're hopeful that this will improve the situation significantly. And then lastly, if I took this step because of different people in the community, Nightcrawler being one of them, was like, hey, I also think for Maxis also was like, switch to move the game to your internal storage, get it off your SD card.
Really?
And it
Okay.
seems to help somewhat, but not every time. Like, what's funny, every time there's an update, I fire up the stream, people are like, is it better, is it better, is it better? And I'm like, well, the first one loaded okay, and then I die and come back, and no, nothing. Like, there's been so many times, like, you die from lag, or the building hasn't loaded for me, but it's loaded for the other person, which means if the building's not there, there's no weapons there, and you kind of just phase through the building. It's super frustrating. So, good to hear that they're going to be improving it. Either of you guys play? Either of you, like...
I jumped off of it. I mean, like when it first came to E3, so when they first announced it at E3, I remember being in my hotel or Airbnb or wherever I was staying and downloading it and then playing it on a hotspot on the way home. And I was like, wow, I like Fortnite now. I guess I'm a Fortnite fan. And then it was that whole thing where I was playing it with my roommates every night, where one of them was on an Xbox One, and that was insanely cool. And just being able to have that crossplay was great. And then within the past like month or two, I've kind of fallen off of it. I haven't played a match recently, and then just hearing all of these issues with the updates doesn't really make me want to come back at all. Or yeah, and until they figure it out or fix it, or until like I have that itch again, because you can only play so many rounds of Fortnite. I feel some people can play it forever, but I feel like I kind of get saturated on those multiplayer games.
Gotcha. Eric?
Yeah. I did play it for a little bit, kind of the same thing, but all the Nintendo Fortnite players who are complaining about it have never played PUBG on the Xbox, obviously, because all of that was par for the course for me. So it wasn't, when I played Fortnite, I'm like, this is fine. Like, this is no problem. It's better than PUBG as far as loading, and textures and everything. So I'm like, this is great. But no, I haven't played in quite a while, and I hear it's actually getting worse, right, with each patch, like they're saying. So, kind of weird.
Yeah.
Maybe stop ruining it. would be my recommendation to Epic. Just go ahead and stop ruining it.
Stop ruining it. All right. Well, hey, let's get to the talking points.
Here we go!
All right. So, PAX West was this last weekend, and Dan hooked me up with the pass on Monday, and then so that was cool. And I took my boys down. My boys immediately went to the Fortnite the Fortnite event, and I of course went to the Nintendo booth, and so very cool. So bizarre to try to get in line to play Mario Party and Smash. Literally, this is what we were told. Here's where the line ends. Don't start a line after this. Just pace back and forth, and we'll tell you when you can get in line. And so literally for a half hour, I paced back and forth. And then it was literally like musical chairs. They were like, okay, to the wall. And I was like, I'm way over here. What do you do? Thankfully, the lady was like, I've seen you pacing long enough. Get in line. I was like, oh, thank you.
Why don't they hand out vouchers, tickets? The DMV's been using a ticketing system for 6,000 years. Like, why not do something like that to organize the chaos?
I don't know.
It's something that they did at E3 this year. Like, when I was registered for E3 about 2 weeks before, they sent me an email saying, hey, here's an Eventbrite link, and then just schedule whatever time in these 30-minute windows you'd like to come and check out Super Smash Brothers. And it was the thing at the Nintendo booth where there's two different lines. One is for indie games, and then Pokemon and Diablo, which was the biggest way to like say screw it to the independent games. And then there was one line that was just for Smash Brothers and Mario Party, and it could have easily had a sort of ticket system or Eventbrite system for the Smash Brothers and Mario Party one. I thought it was a mess, because it was, again, that sort of thing where I was circling like a hawk the entire time. And then the second the dude got out of line who had the thing that said, hey, the line is capped, we just all shifted over to the wall, and then the line was made instantly. Like, it was a travesty, because like, there was no system involved at all. But I was lucky enough to also get in the Smash Brothers and Mario Party line, but wasn't able to get into the Diablo one, or Pokemon one, or whatever other indie games that were there, unfortunately.
So let's talk about Mario Party then. You got to play?
Man.
What'd you think?
So I've never fried tofu in my life. But that is one of the best uses of HD Rumble I have ever seen, because all of the multiplayer games, as far as I know, and all of the games in Mario Party are single Joy-Con, much like The World Ends With You. So no pro controllers there. But there's one particular game where you're frying tofu on a pan, and it's like one-on-one motion controls with you and this frying pan, and you're flipping this square piece of tofu over and over again to make sure it's fried on every single end. And once one side is fried, it like sends a signal to the Joy-Con, and you get in that flow state with that mini game, and it feels great. Like, a lot of the different games were utilizing all of the Switch's gimmicks and everything into a way that made it seem like it enhanced gameplay rather than it being some sort of like tech demo, which is kind of what 1-2 Switch felt like.
Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty certain I had meat in my frying pan.
I think it might have been meat. I just assumed it was a square something.
Because I literally told the people I was playing with, like, there's some vegans that may not want to play this game.
Are you serious?
No, you excited me, because I fry tofu, no joke, at least once a week. So I was like, this is a game for me.
Square of tofu to me, because I was like, why would I be cooking a square piece of? I guess it was red.
It was red.
It was red.
It was red meat. I was.
There was no tofu frying mini game. I apologize to everyone that I just disappointed.
It's a 1 out of 10 for me now.
So yeah, all 5 games, all single Joy-Con. A good mix of motion control and then using the controller like a standard a standard controller. I enjoyed all 5 games. I thought they were
same here.
I thought they were great. I actually spent a I don't know, probably 15 minutes speaking with one of the guys that worked on it for like the localization and stuff, and he was like, "So I'm gonna probably send an email off to some of the higher ups in Japan. What'd you think of the game?" I'm like, I thought it was excellent. It felt like it felt like the Mario Party I've been wanting to play for a long time. Really, like we all remember the feeling we got from the first few games that were like, "This is great." And we haven't had that in so long. It's kind of just been like, man. And it seems like it has the potential to over-deliver on content yet again because of the, you've got the online mini games, you've got the mode where you're putting switches together in tabletop and doing things like that. It could be one of those things that doesn't work very well and nobody ends up liking it, kind of like motion controls on Mario Tennis.
Yeah.
It could also be really fun and be something that people really get into.
Yeah.
Plus you have just the board game, things like that. So I'm pretty excited for it, and I'm not all that bothered by the single Joy-Con. We'll talk about that further in a little while because it's definitely a hot topic right now. So so then after Mario Party was Smash Bros.
Yes.
What did you think? This is your second time playing it, right?
I know, right? I'm just this spoiled little boy that gets to play Super Smash Brothers more than anybody else. So it's the same demo at E3. As far as I know, some people were saying that there were some balance changes, which I feel like I noticed because when I first played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, whoever I was playing against, the group, I was dominating. I won every single round, and this time I was not. So it could definitely have been balance changes. But all of the same selection. There was no Simon Belmont there. There was no Princess Daisy. There wasn't anything of the new stuff that they had announced. But yeah, it still feels great. I was able to try the Breath of the Wild stage finally, and a few other stages that I hadn't yet. But yeah, it feels great. It feels very chaotic when playing with 4 people with items on, to the point that like there were some times where I was like, I have no clue what is happening. And the way they set us up, it was always timed and never stocks. So I mean that probably changes everything too. But either way, I think it's gorgeous. I think it's definitely deserve to be one of the most anticipated titles on the Switch currently. And I'm excited to see what else they announce before the game comes out and what else they're going to add to it, because like you were mentioning with Super Mario Party, it's kind of in the running trend of over-delivering on content in this very, very cool way. It goes to the name. Like, it is the ultimate version of Super Smash Brothers so far. And if they nail the gameplay, like, I'm sure it might surpass Melee, but I mean, I feel like those people are just gonna die on that hill, and yeah, I don't think you can get them off of it.
No, it was smooth. Eric, if you have questions about either of them that you want to ask about Mario Party or Smash, like, feel free to jump in too.
No, you're good.
So what's the biggest differences? Like, what makes this Smash leaps and bounds? I mean, obviously you're playing a alpha build, right? So it's there's going to be improvements, but why is this one so much greater for those of us who haven't played it?
I mean, it's still Smash, right? Like, it's not going to be, you know what you're getting. What I've noticed from playing so much Smash 4 recently is the gameplay is much smoother. So much so that I'm like not really looking forward to going back and playing more Smash 4. Like, it just felt really good. It felt like speed wise, like it was just in that pocket that Smash should be in. It's not like it's not quite as fast as Melee, but it's close. So to me, that really lends itself to the 1v1 play style, but you put in 4 people with items on the Great Plateau, and it was like, it was nuts. It was crazy. And I played Mario and then I played the Inklings because I just wanted to see what they were like. We even kind of had a little agreement with the 4 people that were playing. It was like, hey, let's check some moves real quick. So it was cool. It wasn't just like, so I got to experiment a little bit with the Inklings.
Nice.
And then we played Moray Towers, I believe is the name of it. It's the Splatoon level. And at one point, the gal that was playing with us, I just watched her character just slowly fall all the way off and die, and I was like, she didn't even hit a button. She's like, I couldn't see where I was. I had no clue where I was, so I just watched.
That'll be
her.
me when I play.
so it's frantic, but I mean, recently after I think it was like last Wednesday, or I don't know, it was maybe a couple weeks ago, we played Smash with items on 4 people, and it was just a good time. Like, we just laughed. It was like the competition pretty much just went away, and it was more like, oh, what Pokemon am I going to hit you with, or what trophy am I going to try to get out? And like, I was like so determined to get the Smash Ball, I ended up killing myself after I snagged the thing, So there's gonna be fun for all types. You can only play with the Pro controller. That's all that was available. Yeah. I asked the guy, like, where's the GameCube controller? I was just messing with him, but I could tell he was a little annoyed. Like, how many people are going to ask me this, And it felt all right. It was a little weird jumping into Smash without a GameCube controller, even though I have played on the DS some, but just having the buttons the way they are and not the giant A button in the middle, it kind of threw me off a little bit. But overall, and obviously it's just the alpha build or whatever. I'm super impressed by it, and did not feel like I was playing a port. It felt like it felt like Smash, but it didn't feel like, oh, this is just Smash 4 with a new coat of paint. No, it's more fluid. It's faster. The graphics are better. Overall, it's a better experience in my opinion. I don't know if that really answered your question, Eric. I hope it did.
I think so. I mean, you hit the speed is better, but not quite as fast as GameCube.
Yeah.
It's not just coat of paint. You got it. You took care of it.
Yeah.
Smooth, very smooth, fluid.
So unfortunately, because of the line, so I stood in that line for a while, and then wandered around, and I thought my boys were going to be coming back, so I was like, I didn't wait around to get into the other line to play Pokemon Go, Diablo 3, Starlink. They also had that the Goose game was available to play.
It's called Untitled Goose Game, which I really hope they just stick with that name.
Yeah, so that was there.
That might be my new game of the year, by the way.
It could be a jerk goose,
Yeah.
So,
is there any other kind of goose?
Not really. Not really.
No.
No. But while I was standing there, I did have a conversation, like I said, with the employee that worked on Mario Party, and talked to him at length about Starlink. And I could see people playing it, and man, it really, I feel like the art style for this game may be one of the reasons it's kind of that people may not be excited about it, because it kind of looks like a little like a 90s computer generated cartoon, like just not very appealing. Throwing in Star Fox helped, but like just watching the ships and watching the way it controls, the guy said it kind of has some MMO elements where like you're doing these gigantic boss fights, and then ads will come out and you've got to take them out, hit the certain spot of the boss, it will open up and then expose another area that you can do damage to. And I don't know, I really liked the way it looked, and it, like, I wish I was kicking myself for not trying to, because by the time I was having this conversation, they had closed the line down altogether. And what was terrible is I'm sitting there in front of the Diablo 3 and no one's playing it. There were 3 open switches just right there, and I'm like,
no way.
Can I go in? Nobody was playing Starlink for after I watched the there were some kids playing for a while and then they walked away. So it was just all sitting, and I'm like, I can just go in and real quick, like, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, he kind of gave me his impressions of it. He really enjoyed it and was excited to play it. Now, I mean, granted, he's a Nintendo employee, but I mean, I didn't feel like he was putting on a I felt like he was being honest. Like he was like this, because I immediately said, "Is this the Star Fox game we should have got with Zero?" And he was like, "I've heard a lot of people say that." So. I don't know. Then next to where Diablo was set up, there was a gal working that booth, and she had a different color. It wasn't a red Nintendo shirt, but I could still tell she was actually from Blizzard, hanging out in that booth. And so I immediately asked her about Overwatch, and she goes, "I wouldn't be standing here not screaming right now if Overwatch was coming to the Switch." So she's like, "I have nothing for you." But we talked just a little bit about Diablo, and basically like they really pushed hard to get to keep it 60 frames and to keep the 720 and the 960 so that it doesn't really stutter. They said with 4 players, multiple enemies on screen, like it still played smooth, to the point that she said there were a number of PC players that came through and like looked at her as they were playing and were like, this is amazing that this is on a handheld. Like they were really impressed by it. So I thought that was saying something. And then I asked him a little bit about Pokemon Go, I think I maybe asked somebody that went through the line, and they said they enjoyed it. They were excited to jump back into it.
It's good. It seems to be the same demo from E3.
Which you
I
did
don't
play,
know if they
right?
had the Pokeball. Yeah. So I did get to play some of it with that Pokeball, which is smaller than people are thinking. But it is 100% a remake of Pokemon Yellow.
How big?
How big is it? Like
a basketball.
Like that big. Like
it's
like
really
probably
basketball?
about that big.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's a basketball.
Nightcrawler's like, so I could play The World Ends with you at the Pokeball? Like, you probably could.
No. Somebody was asking that. I'm like, you probably 100% can, and that's probably 100% the way that you should play that game.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to do Mario Party to some degree. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about this single Joy-Con stuff. The revolutionary Pokeball.
Right.
In just a second.
Right. It's kind of a theme this year, it seems like.
Oh, but HE Pokemon stuff looks great. Like that game, if you guys have ever played Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, is that what it's called? Is it Pokemon XD or DX? I'm not sure. But Pokemon Gale of Darkness was a console game for the GameCube, and it is like that, where it seems like a fully fleshed out console RPG. Except it's Pokemon, and it's beautiful.
Okay, cool.
So definitely check that out.
So another game I didn't get a chance to play because the lines were too long was Killer Queen Black. And they were demoing this on the Switch. There were pro controllers out front of this demo. Oh my goodness. If this game comes out before the end of the year, which I'm not sure if its release date, but
I'm pretty sure it does. Either that or it's February.
It looks so fun. Like,
it's great.
It looks like a classic arcade game that is just so goofy. Have you seen videos of this? Like, Eric, have you seen this game at all?
Just in the initial. So when they first announced it, I watched some of the arcade footage, and it looks chaotic and fun.
You win in multiple ways, right? Like you either have to take out the queen or you have to get the snail across. And I'm cracking up because you're these little minions. They jump on this snail and start riding it. And it's barely moving across the screen. Like it's so slow. And if another one gets in front and doesn't make the jump, the snail eats it. And it's like trying to get away and crawling away. I was literally laughing out loud. Like it was super fun to watch. So, really excited to try that game. Right.
If you guys want to try it out before it comes out, I know you guys are near this place, but Ground Control has an awesome setup for Killer Queen that I more than heavily suggest. But yeah, Killer Queen is going to be a killer app on the Switch whenever that comes out.
And I believe they've said it's going to have online, so that's going to be even
Yes.
it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, I think I saw a tweet from Andre from Game Explain saying it was one of the games coming out. Because
Really?
I
Okay.
think I would assume he would know, and so probably coming out this year for the Switch. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
I talked to one of the devs of the Messenger, because I had been playing that all weekend and was just needed to shake somebody's hand, and so that was pretty cool getting to chat with them. I chatted with some of the guys from Devolver, and got hands on with Gato Roboto. I don't
Yeah.
even know. I don't know what this is. I picked it up, started playing it. This cat jumped out of the mech. What do they call it? Like a cat mech. It's a cat game. Goofy, black and white, controlled really, really well. Like the controls were tight, but whoever left it at like a boss fight that they couldn't beat, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't have any clue. At one point, the cat jumped out of the mech and then got stepped on and killed, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? And so, but it looks like it's going to be a good time. So, I went hands-on with that. The other one I went hands-on with was a game called Zombie Rollers, and you're going to love this. It is a zombie pinball roguelite adventure game.
Yeah, you might as well say FPS, RPG, MMO as well.
RPG elements. You got to have elements.
Yeah. Just RPG elements.
So
You gain XP.
we did a little bit of Dan and I were trying to find the name of this game. I'm looking.
Yeah, it
I'm
took us for
looking.
like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking everywhere. Well, there's a Z at the end of Rollers. So Zombie Rollers, there's a Z. It's coming out to the Switch in 2019. I hadn't seen it announced anywhere. So I saw that it had the little Switch logo, so I started chatting with the guy. And what you do is and it is available on mobile, is what we found out beforehand, so you can check it out on iOS and Android. But you basically start off by firing a crossbow with some kind of cannonball in it or whatever, and then it opens up to paddles like you're playing pinball. But as you're taking out these zombies, their heads roll down and they become balls as well, and you can smack them around the course and try to get to bonus areas and things like that. So it actually seemed pretty fun, especially with games like Yoku's Island Express, stuff like that are like these weird takes on pinball. I enjoyed it. It seemed like it would be a good fit on the Switch. And you play this. There's a little island that it's not like you literally just kind of move your guy from square to square and then play the level. It's not like Yoku's where you're platforming and then playing pinball. So, but you level up, that kind of stuff. So, Dan, were there any other titles that you went hands-on with?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of different games that I went hands-on with. I'll just go through a list of them and talk about them for a while,
Cool.
and then you just stop me. You just tell me when I should stop, because there are way too many of them. But I had a great time at PAX. I went all 4 days, and I'm exhausted still. I'm just gonna sleep after this, to be honest with you. But I checked out not Suda51, Swery65's his 2 new games, both of which are coming to Switch. I believe you already know about The Missing from Arc System Works, Josh, or you're at least playing The Missing. I feel like you were talking about The Missing.
I don't think.
Do you know that?
I don't think so.
Are you talking about The Messenger? Okay,
Yeah,
there's
just
too many
the-
games
just-
that have
I-
similar titles.
yeah.
The Missing, then, I guess I'm going to be introducing it to y'all. But Swery, he hot off the Kickstarter campaign for The Good Life. He's the developer of Deadly Premonition and D4. And The Missing it's a 2D platformer that is completely constructed with 3D, so it's polygonal. But it's a 2D platformer where you play as this woman solving this mystery, and that's all they'll tell me, because it's spoiler zone and it's supposed to be a surprise. But the mechanics were very interesting. It involved me having to purposefully trip over logs and spikes and everything so that my character would lose their limbs And then I would use those limbs to trigger other traps and solve puzzles or set myself on fire so I can set other things. It is so bizarre, but it is so intuitive and fun and also somewhat janky. It is a sweary game, but it is coming to Switch, and I definitely make sure you guys have it on your radar because I talked to Swery about it, and Guy is awesome. He's a great, very sweet guy. He used to be a Buddhist priest, or he still is. He's officially licensed. And so he tries to have these philosophies when making video games. And his philosophy for this one was basically talking about like death and like getting like amputated and like making the most of it in your life. Is like some really deep stuff, but it works as a game mechanic, and it's very morbid and dark, and it's gonna be right up some people's alleys. Gonna definitely not be up some people's alleys, but make sure you at least give it a gander because it's gonna be one of the more interesting titles on Switch, and I think it's a huge risk, especially since Arc System Works is publishing it, so it's not just some like self-published title. The other game he put out is The Good Life, which is that Kickstarter backed game, and I was able to play a little bit of it there. And have you guys heard of The Good Life at all?
Negative.
No, negative on. Have you guys even heard of Swery 65? Hidetaki Swery?
No.
Oh my
It
gosh.
sounds familiar, but no,
Oh
probably
man,
not.
okay. So let me pitch you on The Good Life. The Good Life is basically you come to this town, you're a photojournalist, it's a small British town, you accidentally break this vase, and a la Animal Crossing, you are paying off this loan while doing random jobs for people in this town. But then this murder happens, and all of a sudden you're solving this murder. But then at night, everybody turns into either dogs or cats, and you have to solve the mystery behind that. And there's so many different layers to it. But it is a truly fascinating game. It doesn't have to. It won't have to like really worry about funding or anything since it already has been Kickstarter funded. So. They can do whatever they want, but it has a really cool art style. It's kind of like paper mache, much different than The Missing, which has a very dark and brooding and very kind of gory J-horror art style. So that was another one that I played, and I thought the games couldn't be too different. Like it's a 3D sort of exploration game, and it reminds me a lot of Animal Crossing. There's a lot of swearing in it, surprisingly, because it's kind of cutesy and stuff. And then like when you find the body, it's like just a string of curse words from the main character. But good voice acting and everything like that. In terms of stuff that I played that wasn't by Swery, have you guys heard of Toe Jam and Earl at all?
No, what's that? Yeah,
Okay.
we have.
Okay. I was worried there. I was like, oh, you guys not heard of Toe Jam and Earl? So I
Is that
finally played the
Sega?
new one that's coming out. Yeah, it was originally a Sega Genesis
I'm just
game.
kidding.
They don't own the IP anymore. It's owned by Greg Johnson, the creator of Toe Jam, thankfully. And they're self-publishing that because again, Kickstarted, everything like that. And I played that on the Switch and everything because it's coming to the Switch. A great multiplayer game. It's the same thing as the first game, except just kind of reimagined from the ground up, completely HD, hand-drawn animation. It's beautiful. And I played it because I was able to take my girlfriend with me to PAX. We played it together for probably 2 hours, just chilling and talking to people. And it's the sort of game where you and a friend kick back, listen to an album or something while playing it. And I had a ton of fun with that. The last game, or last two games, is 2 games okay?
Yeah,
Two
yeah.
more games
Yeah,
okay,
it's fine.
Josh? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You reminded
Just tell
me of one other, so yeah, you're good now.
Okay, gotcha. Do you guys have any questions, first of all, for any of those other 3?
No, we're good.
At all? Okay, gotcha.
Not yet. Not yet.
Gotcha, not yet. So I also played this game called Wander Song, and have either of you guys heard of Wander Song at all?
And these are all
independent
Switch.
game.
These are all Switch.
These are all Switch. Don't worry.
cool.
Don't worry, Josh. I'm not going to throw a PS4 game in here. I'm not going to talk about how good Spider-Man is. But Wander Song is coming to Switch. It was kickstarted, funded, and made by a very, very sweet guy named Greg. Greg Lobanov, which we talked to and had a great lengthy conversation with. And it's a very chill, positive game. If I could describe the art style, it's kind of like South Park, except obviously not raunchy. It's just like cardboard cutouts. And the entire game is centered around the concept of this music wheel that you have, where on the right stick of the Joy-Con, you can choose 8 different notes. And it's like a color wheel, except it's for music, and you completely control it, a la Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time. And so all of the game's mechanics, the combat, the puzzles, everything is centered around this. And apart from it, it is a 2D side-scrolling adventure game, and it's very, very gorgeous and beautiful. And I'm sure it's going to be a huge hit on Switch. And it's coming to other platforms, obviously, but the Switch version was the one that I played. And according to him, it started as a 4 to 5 hour game, kind of just centered around these games mechanics, and then it turned into a 13 to 15 hour epic. And much as it is a chill music game, it will evolve into like other musical genres, and he didn't want to divulge too much because that is a part of the surprise, but he's saying to expect like other genres to be introduced, so it's going to be a very dynamic experience. But the last game, Damn View, which is what it is called. I don't know. Have you guys heard of Damn View at all? Okay, gotcha. This is great. I love talking to you guys about these new games.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to have to take you away from PAX to the Grand Hyatt to an appointment that was set up via Twitter DMs because I saw a trailer for this game and was so excited for it. And when I get there, it is 3 lovely European guys who are here to show me this game on a laptop in this hotel lobby. And this game is called Damn View, and it is like Stardew Valley, except instead of working crops, you are working at a laundromat. Instead of this beautiful farm town, you are working in the gritty streets of New York. Okay. Instead of making a character, the developers decided you can't, because you can't make your own character in life. And it's completely randomly generated who you end up being. It's all anthropomorphic animals that you play. It's top down, and you basically do whatever you want in this town to make sure that you can pay rent, to make sure that you don't get put in jail, to make sure that you don't get killed. And maybe working at the laundromat, like, you're not going to be able to do that forever and be able to pay rent and be able to eat at the same time. And maybe you have to go to the streets and maybe sell illicit substances in order to pay rent. But then the cops might get you, or you might get enraptured in some big mafia war, and like all of these different dynamic things that make this a very ambitious game that is coming to Switch. Don't worry, not sneaking a PS4 game in here. But it's coming to Switch, and I think it's going to be massively replayable because nothing about this game is fun. In the way that it's like, this is making me feel good. It's in the sense that it is extremely rewarding to be able to pay your rent, to be able to live in this other world and just make stuff work. And like,
hold on, pause.
This sounds like terrible real life.
Pause. You just said it's terribly rewarding to pay your rent.
Yes.
We have different tastes in video games, dude. I gotta tell you.
I know. It might not be something up anybody's alley, and these people were very much nihilistic about the worldview and about capitalism, and this is kind of their statement about it. But I found something massively rewarding with being able to drive home, and only 3/4 of the way my gas had run out. And then I got to walk the remaining distance because I made it 3/4 of the way, and today was a good day, I guess. But it is that sort of thing where it's different anthropomorphic animals, and everybody on Twitter has been like, oh, can I be a cat person? Can I be like a rooster? Can I be this? And it's, yeah, they're like, no, it's randomly generated what your species will be. And if you're a ferret, like, dogs aren't gonna like you. Like, there's this built-in racism and like bias. And I just think it is so ambitious that it's going to be right up my alley, because I love Stardew Valley, I love Animal Crossing, but just the concept of being able to like figure out how to make things work in this very punishing environment sounds very, very cool to me, especially with the style that it's wrapped up in. But that's the last one. That's the
Okay.
last one I want to end on. Is that beautiful downer?
Oh, it's good. It's good. It sounds super fun.
Keep it on your list, guys. Damn View. They said it would be out in Q2 of 2019, but also told me that like I couldn't go to various places in the demo because it might break. So
Oh.
I doubt it'll come out by then.
Yeah. Well, if it's anywhere as realistic as they're trying to push, it'll get pushed back because life.
Yeah, they exactly.
All the chat is saying is first look Friday. Can't wait for me to stream this. Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Gonna be great. So I didn't get to go hands on with it, but I spent some time watching the Sonic go-kart game that's coming out.
Sonic Racing.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, it looked really squirrely and not all that impressive. So, it's pretty tough when you're jumping into a genre with Mario Kart. Really, like to try to compete with that, you gotta be Diddy Kong Racing, and it even came up short. But
Yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of, real quick, Diddy Kong Racing or Mario 64 or Mario Kart 64? Dan.
Just in general, or
Yeah,
me?
which one would you pick?
Mario Kart 64.
Okay, that's all we needed to know. That's
Am I gonna get stabbed
Nope,
now?
you're fine. You're good.
I know the general area you live in, so
Okay, that's true.
So yeah, I mean, graphically it looks cool, but it's just the way the racing looked. It just seemed it gave you the impression that the car wasn't really moving. This the track was, and so I was like, well, this is odd. I mean, I understand that's kind of how racing games work, but like, it just, I don't know. It was kind of strange.
why is Sonic is fast on his own? Why is he driving stuff?
I don't know.
I've never understood this. Why are we? Is it a Flintstones car? Like, what's the point?
It was Knuckles.
handicap.
All I saw was Knuckles driving. So,
That's true.
so, anyway, that's that. Let's wrap this up with our talking point of the single Joy-Con play.
This entire podcast has been
I'm going to
the
use the
talking
sound
point.
for when people use the a bad word to kick this talking point off, because it's just, I'm worried. Okay, so this seems to be a thing, right? Mario Party, The World Ends With You, Pokemon Go. Like,
It makes sense for Mario Party though. Similar to a 1-2 switch, like you kind of expect that kind of game to lend itself to that.
mhm.
That's where my love for the single Joy-Con stops, though.
Yeah. What? I mean, you said it right off the bat. It's a deal breaker for The World Ends With You. Like, not happening.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on buying Pokemon Go either. I don't want to play games that way. I don't find that I'm a purist. No, I'm just kidding. I like having a controller in my hand or playing the Switch and handheld like a handheld console.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to play one-handed weird. I don't even like playing in split Joy-Con configuration. So some people really enjoy playing Zelda that way. I didn't like it. I tried it for about 30 seconds and I said, nope, I don't like this. So it's just not for me. I don't like it.
Dan, what about you? Where are you at with this?
I mean, I think with the Switch champion and pioneering the whole like, oh, play anything, any way, anywhere. I think it's just like goes against the messaging whenever it's not like that. So I mean, one part in me is like, oh, I kind of not into this. Like with the whole Pokemon thing, has it been confirmed? It's like only one Joy-Con, because like I mean, for the most part, that is how they seem like they want you to play it, considering like the Pokeball accessory, etc. But I mean, playing 1-2 Switch was kind of like I don't know. I haven't seen any game as of yet, and it might be Super Mario Party that does it right, that has been, oh, you can only use one Joy-Con, and it's been something where I'm like, this is an okay sacrifice for me to not just be sitting down with my Pro Controller right now. So I don't know. It's not too much of a deal breaker. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. With The World Ends With You, I think it's kind of silly. With Super Mario Party, I think it's just what it's going to be like, and I think I'll be able to make it work.
So, and there's been a few other indie titles that have had this too.
Yeah.
I personally don't mind playing solo, like with the single Joy-Con. I got big hands, right? Like, if I try to play Mario Kart or Street Fighter, for a long period of time, that's uncomfortable. My hands are going to cramp. Mario Party, I feel like it is a must. I feel like having the single Joy-Con play is a must because of the games like that frying pan game. Like you literally have so many more options for games having these motion controls. We've seen recently like the river raft game where they're rowing. One of the games I played was that we played at PAX was like you tilted the Joy-Con forward, like you were holding it as if you were playing it normally, but you just tilted it forward and you rolled a barrel, and then you would turn to try to avoid the grass, and then you would try to stay on the path. So that, I didn't mind that. And then there was another one where you kind of had to like almost like rotate it kind of like in a figure eight to get a little tricycle to move. The Joy-Con motion controls work really well, like surprisingly well. Yes. Like it's pretty accurate. The reason I kind of liked it with Mario Party is that switching to some of those motion games, you weren't stuck just holding the Joy-Con like a controller the whole time. So you can relax your hands a little bit and not have to be like, and because Mario Party has you take turns, that kind of stuff, like I don't think single Joy-Con's going to be an issue whatsoever for me. And when we first had like Overcooked and we wanted to play with multiple people, like there were times it was just easier just as everybody has their own Joy-Con and we would go for it. Snipper Clips was the same way when that game first came out. It was single Joy-Con only. You couldn't play any other way. So I think in a way I'm used to it. We had 1-2 Switch. We played a lot of those games, and so I'm not so taken aback by it. Right? It doesn't bother me all that much. But I mean, I've seen comments where they're like, no pro controller support for Mario Party. I'm out. And it's like
that one's kind of weird to me because you're not going to be able to play if just looking at the mini games. You're not going to be able to use the pro controller on most of those anyways. Like it just wouldn't have worked. Like the rowing of the boat, right? Like that's just going to be dumb to do with the pro controller. So I agree with people on others, and any other game that is a twin stick capable game should support the pro controller 100%. I just for Mario Party it doesn't bother me because I'm going to play that with people. You're going to be passing the Joy-Con around. Even if we're playing online, I can get behind playing one controller on that. For a single player experience or for, story-based game or anything else where I'm not passing the controller around, I wish we could use either both or a pro controller or, standard handheld mode.
Yeah, I get it. I get just having the options. Snipper Clips eventually released updates that allowed for the Pro Controller, and allowed you to play with the Joy-Con grip. The other thing with Mario Party is I feel like Mario Party is a game that is constantly plagued by this kind of feels like more of the same, right? Well, having multiple motion control games allows for just so much more variety in gameplay. Yeah, and I think overall that's a really good thing because the rowing, the flipping, that frying pan game was super fun. Like I could see myself playing that mini game over and over again. Like it was one of those games that was like this left an impression, Whereas like the other one where you kind of just run around and dodge the football players that are trying to take you out or whatever, it just felt like a chaotic Mario Party, game that you could play with just your typical controller. But overall, I think I'm okay with it. The World Ends With You. I'm not sure about that, like, but again, before I decide I'm against it or whatever, I want to see how it plays, because I had no problem getting used to Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii, and that was not the way I wanted to play that game. I wanted to play that game with the classic controller, but it wasn't an option. You had to be able to have that waggle. So, and once I just spent a little time with it, I got used to it. So, I think what Nintendo has against it doing this kind of stuff is it's against traditional gameplay styles that, I think some people just want to have their options and want to play some things traditionally. But like I said, with Mario Party, I feel it would be so limited if all we had was an analog stick and the buttons to play mini games that it would take some of the fun away from it. I don't know, Dan. What do you think about this?
I mean, I thought it was interesting that you brought up the Wii era, because that's where I feel like that mainly happened for me, where I was like, this is not how I want to enjoy this game. And I think a great example of this is Metroid Prime Other M. Not Metroid Prime Other M, but Metroid Other M, which had the whole gimmick where it was entirely with the Wii remote, and then you turned it sideways, and then all of a sudden it was first person and you were shooting if you needed to do that. And I thought that was an interesting idea, but it wasn't the way I wanted to play a Metroid game at all. And I think for the most part it's gonna be something that we see more of, to be honest, because I feel like towards the beginning of the Switch's lifespan, we had those things where it was play it any way that you want, and now we're gonna get more stuff as more games come out where it's like, no, specifically we want you to play with the right Joy-Con when you're not playing undocked. And I don't know, I think it's gonna be that sort of thing where it's gonna affect people's reception towards games, depending on how effective the certain implementation is. It'll definitely affect whether or not people pick it up or not.
Oh, there were some indie titles that were strictly touch or strictly handheld. I was like, this is not for me.
That's because that's not what the console is. Yeah,
this is not for me, because it's like this is mobile gaming at that point. And if I wanted to do that, I'd do it on my phone. So
yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go with the solo Joy-Con. I think that's gonna do it. So here
really,
we go.
okay.
That's gonna we're gonna wrap this thing up here. All right, Dan, tell people where they can find you.
Oh, where they can find me? Many places, surprisingly. You'll be able to see a lot of my PAX coverage, including video stuff on Gameumentary, which is exactly how it sounds, is how it's spelled, game plus documentary. It's a YouTube channel. We do video game documentaries, and a lot of my interviews and developer stuff is going to be there. As well, you can find anything that I write. I'll be tweeting about it on my Twitter, which is twitter.com/shadowforks or @shadowforks. So that's where you can find me.
All right, Eric, how about you, bud?
Twitter, Twitch is still. I'm on Twitch, but I need to figure out my schedule. So that's Discord, all hate zero spelt XERO. Join our Discord. There's too many people to keep up. If you lose a couple minutes, it's turned into a huge. It's not. I don't even want to call it a community now. It's like a compound. We've grown crazy levels. So join the fun. Join the debate.
Yeah, come hang out. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at N64Josh. You can follow this show at NPowercast. The show notes for this episode will be n64josh.com/NPC. If you want to email us, it's npc@n64josh.com. You got a question, comment, concern, hit us up. I'm still putting news articles up on the regular. If you want to be able to keep up with some Nintendo news. n64josh.com. You can check it out there. audibletrial.com/NPC gets you a free audiobook of your choice. Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, I highly recommend. Console Wars, also really good.
Yeah.
The chair I'm sitting in is from OPSeat. You go to n64josh.com/OPSeat, and you automatically save $10 at checkout. There is currently a back-to-school sale going, so don't miss it. Good deals on excellent chairs. I have a Patreon if you want to check it out. For just $1, you get yourself an extra podcast each month, and that's patreon.com/n64josh. There are other tiers available as well. Like Eric said, join the Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. We're just about to 500 people, so it is getting crazy. But lots of people coming in from the Smash Bros. Cast. And, so we're playing Smash, we're playing Rocket League, we're playing Fortnite, we're playing Mario Kart, soon to be Mario Party. It's good. It's a good time. Good time. A lot of stuff to talk about. Even seen some people getting into Monster Hunter, which is cool. So we do have a Facebook group as well, n64josh.com/Facebook group. You can come hang out there if that is your platform of choice. If you have a second, you can rate and review on iTunes. We would greatly appreciate it. And lastly, if you could do me a favor, if you could share this episode with even just one person, throw it up on your social media, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, whatever, your Snapchat. Let people know you're listening to the Nintendo Powercast. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode.